The stream is now live.
I'd like to call this virtual November 4th meeting of the Abbotsford Board of Education to order on this glorious Abbotsford Day, or as some will say, day 3 in the emotional recovery following a World Series loss. Well, I've just lost my, I'm not sure why this happened, so I'm going to go back with apologies. I had a bit more to say. Oh, there we go. Anyhow, my name is Stan Peterson, and I'm the newly elected chair of the Abbotsford Board of Education. I'd like to thank my colleagues for the privilege of this position, and also thank now Vice Chair Wilson for her 3 years of service to our board, as well as past Vice Chair Rye for his great work over this last 3 years. It has come to our attention that meeting in public could present safety concerns for trustees and our staff. As the safety of everyone in our school district is a #1 priority, it was prudent for us to have a virtual meeting this evening. At the start of our meeting, I would like to acknowledge that the Abbotsford School District is on the traditional and unceded territory of the Samath First Nations and the Mathby First Nations. With this, we respect the long-standing relationship that Indigenous peoples have to this land, as they are the original caretakers. At this time, we'll have the playing of O Canada.
O Canada, our home and maiden land, true patron love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see rise, the true North strong and free.
Man, we live in a gorgeous country. Looking now for the adoption of our agenda.
So moved.
Trustee Kandarajwan. Seconded. Seconded. Trustee White. Thank you.
Oh, no, sorry, Stan. I didn't. I think it was Preet and Rupi. Sorry.
I seconded it. It just.
Oh, well, I'm going to go out. We said we're going to use the hand signal. I see your hand signals. Trustee White, you're the seconder.
Well, but actually, I was actually just raising my hand to speak to the motion. I don't intend to support it, so it wouldn't be wise of me to second it.
Oh, okay. Okay. All
Sorry
right.
about the confusion.
That's okay. Okay. The motion is out there. Speakers to the motion then. It was seconded then by Trustee Rye. Trustee White.
Yeah, I just want to say that I will be voting against the motion, and it's purely not because of the items on the agenda, but because of the forum here, as we're taking extraordinary pandemic era precautions for something that I just disagree with, and so I'm going to voice my disagreement through my vote. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Trustee Wilson.
Just a reminder, if I may, to the board, we are in a formal public meeting and formalities should be followed, i.e. Chair Peterson, Trustee White, etc.
Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. Yes. I think we all slip up at times on that.
I apologize.
I think we all slip up on that from time to time, but we'll do our very best in that regard. Yes. Okay. Having heard that comment, Trustee White. We're simply going to move along, and we have some voting buttons in front of us. Not yet. There they are. Now looking for the approval of our minutes for our meeting on October 1st, 2025. Moved by Trustee Rye, seconded by Trustee White. Got you again. All right. Voting buttons are up. Oh my goodness sakes. Struggling with the technology here, folks. I apologize. I popped out of the meeting for whatever reason. There we go. I'm back in. All right.
Chair Peterson, can I just make a comment? My hand is up.
Most certainly, yes.
Unfortunately, my computer is buffering quite a bit here, so I will just shut my face. It's not that I'm not paying attention. It's just that I need to hear properly. So as soon as it gets better, I will come back on with my face.
Okay. Thank you very
I'm
much
not
for
going to
that.
sleep. I'm still here.
All right. We have a number of consent items. Looking for approval of those. And I too am struggling a bit with the technology here, with apologies. All right. My goodness sakes. Moved by Trustee Wilson, seconded by Trustee Kaler. Thank you. All right, looking for voting buttons. Okay, up next, looking for approval for the minutes of our policy committee meeting, April 30th, 2024. Boy, that's a while back, although we've had one since. Moved by Trustee Rye, seconded by, looking for hands. Okay, Trustee Kandarajwan. Thank you. And waiting for voting buttons.
Just one moment. We're just addressing a electronic issue for a sec.
Yeah, we're all learning how to get back, how to do this electronically, or reminding ourselves. Okay. All right. And next would be
Sorry. Just a note. I apologize, Chair. Because the minutes are part of the consent, that's why we're running into some process issues on our end.
Yes.
So the policy committee and the general record of the closed meeting are both approved, and my thanks to Executive Assistant Penny, who was helping me along there. So
all right.
I think the next item on the agenda that we have is
district communication. Yay. All right.
7.1.
So I'm going to turn that over to Superintendent Ning.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. And it's with a lot of excitement. And you had a bit of a preview at the last board meeting where we did just learn some information, but I wanted to officially bring this to the board's attention, where our outstanding communications team, so our senior manager for communication, Christy Ferguson, along with her support, Mona Liu, were recognized as part of our district, not for one, but two major awards through the Canadian Association of Communicators in Education. for both the Journey to 2036 project and the What's in a Name project. So these honors were officially announced on October 18th at the 2025 Bravo Awards, where education communication professionals from across Canada gather and celebrate exemplary work. And I believe this was the first time for our team, and walking away with two of the biggest awards there is really a comment on the excellent work that they've been doing for our district. So I just wanted to bring that work to the forefront to recognize, and you'll see some examples of the work that our communication departments is doing in collaboration with our staff again tonight. But this is a significant piece being recognized nationally with two awards. On an interesting note, on that Journey to 2036, I had the pleasure of spending some time today in the next segment of that. But again, just some excellent work coming out of our communication department, and just wanted to recognize and show some appreciation and gratitude for that work.
Yay, Abbotsford. Oh, colleagues, comments? Trustee Keller.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. It's just so inspiring to see our district from Abbotsford being recognized on such a big level, that too nationwide. So congratulations, Christy and your entire team for making this happen, and well deserved.
I next see Trustee Kanda Rajwan. I'm looking at numbers. So I missed Trustee Wilson, but go ahead.
I think Trustee Wilson was before me.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to say congratulations to Christy and Mona, and it was a great privilege to even watch the videos, get created and be a part of that. And it's great success for Abbotsford to see that we're on the map.
We sure are. Yes. Trustee Wilson.
Yeah, thank you. It's not the first time that we've won an award, but it is with you and your team, Christy, and recognizing that you and two other members of your team pulled together this work in an amazing, outstanding way. You deserve all the kudos, all three of you. And I would like to say it's been a joy to work with you so closely and to be able to continue to work with you. But what I really wanted to say is this is a national award. And knowing that you're competing against districts like Surrey and Toronto and like across the country, kudos. Well done.
All right. Yes. Trustee Rai.
I would first like to say congratulations to Christy and her team, but this hand thing is not working for me, because whatever I wanted to say has already been said. So I don't know what else to say. But no, congratulations. Awesome for winning a national award. Now, is there an international award that you can go to?
I'll try.
Okay, good. We need that award now. Thank you. Your expectations are very high. Thank you so much. Amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Raj.
Yeah, thank you. Christy, great job. Congratulations. I just wanted to say also that it's really inspiring for students as well. They see so much of your media and then seeing this award. And I think that's today's generation. At the district student voice meeting that we had, what was it, last week or the week before? I think it was, I felt it was quite profound that we talked about literacy not just being written words, but also other forms of communication, both incoming and outgoing. And that is the reality of today's world, to make an argument, express yourself. So you've done that so well. Great job.
Thank you very much.
Well, Christy, they said it all. I just think we're so very fortunate to have you part of a great team that does great things in Abbotsford.
Thank you, everyone, for your kind words. I appreciate it.
All right. We're going to look at reports on achievement and education reports, and I'll turn it back again to Superintendent Ning.
Great. Thank you, Chair Peterson. And now we'll give Christy an opportunity to speak to you as she brings to you as a part of our cycle of continuous improvement and demonstrating how we're working towards making progress in the board's strategic plan, the Communications and Community Relations Department, and how they're continuing to advance our school district's work by strengthening parent, community, and employee engagement. And so with that, I will turn it over to Christy.
Thank you very much. I just want to confirm, is there an echo? Can anyone hear an echo?
Minimally. I don't
Okay.
think it'll affect your report.
Okay.
It's just very subtle.
Okay, I'm just going to turn down. Okay. There may be an echo now, but it will then come through on the live stream.
We can handle the echo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm almost done. Just two more points. I am working on a community partnership strategy. So learning who our partners are, what we've done in the past with them, what we're doing presently, where I see opportunity. That's part of the strategy that I'm building and working on this year. So without further ado, I'd like to share our department's story of how we've been showcasing the board's priorities and plan in action this year. Hello, I'm Christy Ferguson, Senior Manager of Communications and Community Relations. Our work in communications is rooted in the board's pillar of engaging opportunities. Over the past year, that work has evolved in really meaningful ways. Our team has grown into a strategic, storytelling-focused department, one that helps our schools and departments share their impact, build connection, and strengthen trust across the community. We've expanded our support so that colleagues working within all four pillars of the strategic plan have our partnership. This year, we focused on building the systems and tools that make great communication easier and more consistent. From accessible templates and an improved website to a more cohesive brand that ensures everything we share looks and feels distinctly Abbey Schools. But the heart of our work this year was storytelling. We developed an editorial calendar that highlights the many ways learning comes to life across our district. And as we did, we built stronger relationships with schools and departments so that when meaningful stories arise, our team is ready to help amplify them. And the results speak for themselves. Our social media presence has grown by more than 1,000% year over year, with engagement across all platforms increasing 968%. While our followers continue to climb, our focus remains on connection. People who interact with our posts, send messages, and engage in conversation. That's how we know our strategy is working. We celebrated inclusivity and community through projects like the Mother Language Day video and What's in a Name, a collaboration that brought together community partners and district teams to share and celebrate the rich histories behind our schools' names. And of course, the award-winning Journey to 2036 series, which was recognized nationally and reached more than 10 million people through media coverage. It highlights the voices of our young students, a group we'll follow from grades 1 to 12 as they share their experiences and perspectives along the way. Internally, we strengthen workforce communications through initiatives like the Choose Abbey Schools campaign and storytelling that showcase the incredible people behind our operations, including our Day in the Life school bus driver video, which boosted morale, reached thousands, and became a powerful recruitment tool. Last year was a year of growth in strategy, collaboration, and impact. Our communications work shows the board's strategic plan in action. And we're really just getting started. With the foundations and processes we've now built, there's enormous opportunity ahead to keep growing our storytelling, deepen our connections with community partners, families, and staff, and to continue elevating the voices, values, and vision that make Abbotsford School District extraordinary. That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. Colleagues, comments? Trustee Wilson.
Thank you. Despite some folks thinking there's some negativity in the district, I just want to say how exemplary it is that we have so much to celebrate, so many good things. The increase in activity where they're engaging with the district on a positive level is outstanding. And I really want to thank you and your team yet again, Christy, for this work. I know it's taken a different type of effort to bring this into a reality for us. Definitely paid off in spades. Thank you.
Trustee White.
Yeah, numbers don't lie, and I'm a numbers guy, and it's really great to see on the incredible numbers. Those are absolutely outstanding data points. I've certainly seen a difference in the social media side of things in particular since I've been a trustee here, and I'm really, really impressed with that. So well done, Christy, and keep up the good work.
Trustee Kaler.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. It's so impressive to see a 375% increase in impressions and nearly 1,000% in engagement growth. This level of connection with our community just makes such a big difference on how families see the district and how they connect with the district. So thank you, Christy, and thank you to your team for, again, continuing to do such amazing work.
Trustee Roach.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thanks again, Christy. Great job. Yeah, the leadership you show in your department is amazing. And if a picture tells 1,000 words, I guess a video is like 1,000,000, right? So you're reaching a lot of people in a great way. Thank you.
Trustee Rye.
Oh, no, thank you, Christy. No wonder your team has won the national award. That's amazing statistics to see. So thank you very much for all your work and, of course, the help of your team. So please congratulate them from us as well. Thank you.
Trustee Cantarajwa.
Thank you, Chair Wilson. Yeah, kudos to the team. And this is the one thing the board is wanting to have is that parent engagement. And it's a great way to show that its success is happening.
Well, Christy, I'll maybe finish by saying you and your team should win an award, but gosh, you have. So well done. We love it. We love the videos. We love seeing the fact that you're engaging with our community to the extent you are. So keep up that great work, and thank you to you and your team.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay. Again, Superintendent Ning.
Great. Thank you, Chair Peterson. So I'm pleased to bring to you another report and presentation on your strategic plan, this time with our Human Resources Department from our Associate Superintendent, Trish Laframboise-Lowe. And as you're aware, an organization is only as good as its people, and Associate Superintendent Laframboise-Lowe and her staff have done an outstanding job in this area, helping us through some complex times. So with that, I will throw it over to her.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. And it does feel funny being in this context again. It's a throwback, I guess, to about 5 years ago. But it's my privilege and honor to share with you the work that our team has been up to in the last year, and then to talk a little bit about our work going forward. Carissa is advancing the slides for me as well, and I'll just ask her to skip to the next one. So the HR team provides the full comprehensive suite of human resources services to our now 3,000 employees across the district. So the broad spectrum would include recruitment and retention, staffing and benefits administration, labor relations, which includes everything from grievances to collective bargaining, employee wellness and culture, health and safety, disability management and return to work, as well as leadership development. Our work, of course, is centered around the progressive workforce pillar, but we do also partner with our colleagues in engaging opportunities and optimized resources, and of course, student success. So looking back at our 2024-25 school year and the objectives that we had set. Next slide. Thank you. Increasing employee engagement. So you'll recall a couple of years ago, we ran quite a comprehensive employee engagement survey. Last year, we conducted a pulse check across the district, which was a very short 20-question survey that was sent out to our employees. And if Carissa can advance the next slide. Oh, I'll be talking about the survey in a moment, but the other piece that we developed and revamped was the ABC Awards. So this program, many of you are familiar with, has been with the district for a number of years. In its previous iterations, there were 4 awards that were given out. We've now expanded this program to include 5 categories and 16 awards. The objective in doing this was really to recognize the amazing breadth of work that our people, our employees, are responsible for. There are so many great stories, as Christy and her team have highlighted to us, that we thought really do need to be recognized, and 4 awards just didn't seem adequate to be able to cover all of the great work that all facets of our employees are doing. So we also wanted to expand the scope of the awards to recognize employees in categories that aren't often recognized when or thought of when we think about the K-12 sector. So really recognizing employees in operation support, facilities, those areas that are part of that support that make the accomplishments happen. So the award recipients will be honored at a ceremony in February. This is when we would typically have the Long Service Awards. So what we've done is we're rolling the Long Service Awards into our service category of award. And we're now calling this ceremony the Awards of Excellence while incorporating the long-term service. It was really exciting to see that our nominations, when our nominations period closed at the end of June, we'd received 118 nominations for the year. So it's quite a bit of work going forward with the committee in selecting all of the award recipients, but it's great work to be looking forward to. Next slide, please. So the Pulse survey was launched in May. We ran it for 2 weeks, 20 questions, as I'd mentioned, and had 916 responses. So less than our previous survey, but still not too bad. About a third of our staff responded. Here you see the breakdown of the respondents. Carissa, if you could advance the next slide, please. This is quite a bit of data to review, but what I will do is maybe just highlight some of the findings. So overall, the responses were very good. What we found is that employees are feeling very fulfilled in their work. They have good relationships with their colleagues. They have good relationships with their immediate supervisors. They feel that the work that they do is meaningful. They feel that they have the opportunity to be their best selves at work. But the survey also highlighted a couple of areas that we need to pay more attention to. So specifically communication with our employees. So from senior leadership to the employees, that communication was highlighted as an area of in need of some attention. And the culture aspect. So overall, the culture is not bad, but there were comments that were made in the survey just around morale and culture that we can speak to further on in our presentation. Next slide. Okay, the next objective was around improving recruitment and retention of staff. So I'm really pleased to share with you that we have expanded the mentoring program. So one of our amazing helping teachers, Colleen Gregory, has been running a mentoring program for teachers for a number of years. Last year, we expanded that program to include training for mentors in the PVP and exempt categories so that we could partner newly promoted vice principals or newly promoted district principals, as well as new managers and ops managers with a mentor. We really saw lots of growth for new leaders, and mentoring was one of the avenues that we were able to reach them. So we expanded, as I mentioned, to 39 participants who received training. And that training was done in October of last year. We also reviewed our employee orientation and onboarding programs. So this is something that for myself, when I was onboarded a couple of years ago, recognized that we could do better in terms of creating a welcoming space and creating accessible onboarding materials so that people felt valued, they felt that they were important. Right now, what we're doing is working with our colleagues in IT to develop an onboarding platform to make it even more accessible for our folks to onboard and access the training that they need. We'll also be including in-person events for our new employees. And we've also launched the reception. So we did have a reception last November for all new employees. It was a great turnout. It was an opportunity for new employees from across the board, so educators as well as support staff and ops management to come together, meet all of our senior leadership team, had them introduce themselves, and then just sort of network. So it was a nice warm event. Next slide, Carissa, please. This is the hiring data. One piece that I'll note is that the UTalk program, which was introduced a couple of years ago, so that's the uncertified educators teaching on call, was expanded. So a great success that we've had with our colleagues with the Abbotsford Teachers Union was expanding this program to up to 50 UTalks. So we found that this has been a really great tool for recruiting. So it offers an opportunity for people who are thinking about a career in education to come work in a school, see what it's like, and then proceed in terms of getting that education. And it also gives us an opportunity to bring in more folks to look after classrooms to ensure that there's consistency and stability in a time where recruiting has been difficult of continuing teachers. Next slide. Improving leadership capacity was another objective for the operational plan. We've been really excited about launching our new leadership development program. So we've got the Leadership Academy, which was formerly called the Teachers Leadership Academy. that has now been expanded to include support employees as well as ops support employees. So again, offering opportunities for all staff to learn together and develop into leadership positions or prepare themselves for leadership positions. Last year, we had 41 employees that were selected and enrolled in our Leadership Academy. That cohort is moving into year 2 of the Leadership Academy, and we're about to go through selection for this year's Leadership Academy. And so we'll be starting that cohort in a couple of weeks. We've also onboarded a number of new PVPs into the new leaders induction program. Previous to that, we were looking at a 1-day training and onboarding for new PVPs that occurred at our leadership retreat in the summer. And last year we expanded that to include 3 full days of training, as well as monthly meetings. So we really recognize that there was an appetite and a need to better support our newly promoted vice principals and operations managers. So we've really come to enjoy meeting with the groups once a month, and they've also been able to build support with one another through those opportunities. Okay, the next objective, improving employee health, safety, and resiliency. So we did conduct district-wide site risk assessments, which were completed at the end of June. So every school has had an environmental violence risk assessment done and completed. There is going to be a district-wide report that our team is putting together, and some follow-ups have already been initiated with some of our school sites. We also provided some learning opportunities for our district leaders to recognize signs of stress and burnout, which were very well attended, and we'll be running similar workshops again this coming year. Next slide, Carissa, please. Thank you. So this is the yearly report that we receive from our EFAP provider, so the Employee and Family Assistance Program. Our program is administered through TELUS Health. And you'll see that our utilization has gone up from last year. It's now 12.63%. We have done, our team in OH&S has done a great job of promoting the program, and we're now seeing some take up. So you'll see that the way that it's been broken down is there's services, so mental health counseling services, 8.93% was mental health counseling. And then there's work-life services, which is something that it's a suite of services that is new. It is not well utilized because I don't think people will automatically think about work-life services when they're thinking about an EFAP program, but we have been trying to promote this suite of services as well. So work-life services include things like nutrition counseling, consultations with lawyers, with accountants, family services. It's really quite a wealth of services that many people don't know about. So we are going to be doing more work on this in the new year in terms of promoting what employees have available to them. Next slide, please. So some strategic considerations that we'll be thinking about as we move ahead into next year's activities or this year's activities. Organizational stress and burnout is something that we are seeing across the board. We're seeing an increase in the number of reports of violence at schools. We're seeing refusals of work, of unsafe work rather. So our staff are struggling, and it is a concern. We need to really look at what's happening and what we can do to support our folks so that they're able to do their job safely. Employee wellness, of course, ties into that. And then creating a culture of safety. So when I talk about a culture of safety, in addition to the physical safety and wanting our people to feel safe and secure while they're doing the job, we also want our employees to feel a sense of psychological safety. So we want our employees to feel like they belong and that they're included and that they can ask questions without fear of reprisal. So this is something that is that we need to shift. And we'll be working on this as a team and with our colleagues in the next year. Next slide. So our plans for this year will include enhancing the employee onboarding program, which I referenced earlier. We'll also be developing a 5-year employee recruitment and retention strategy. So recruitment and retention is always an issue and always a concern for us folks in HR. In the K-12 sector, we're no different than any other sector. We're dealing with different generations of employees who want different things. And so we need to be agile and modify our strategies to better meet the needs of those that are going to be coming into the workforce in the coming years. We'll be developing a district-wide psychological safety campaign. So in reference to my previous slide around a culture of safety, we want to really engage with schools and work sites around the concept of psychological safety and how we can promote it and increase everyone's sense of wellness and safety. And we will continue to build collaborative relationships with our union partners. They are key to many of the initiatives that we have in the district, and we have enjoyed great relationships in the last couple of years since I've been here, and I hope that we can continue to build on that. I think the next slide will be our video. Yes, so without further ado, I'll turn it over to Carissa to flip over to the video. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Patricia Lefman-Boisselot, Associate Superintendent of Human Resources. At the heart of every great school district are the people who make it possible. Our work in human resources, which falls under the board's strategic Progressive Workplace pillar, is about creating a culture where every employee feels valued, included, and supported, and where they can bring their best selves to work each day. We strive to be an employer that listens to and invests in its people. Over the past year, our team has focused on both the systems and the relationships that make that possible. We hosted the district's first new employee welcome event in November, bringing together new staff from across the organization to help them feel connected and supported from day one. We also celebrated our colleagues heading into retirement with a special send-off to thank them for their many contributions to our schools and students. In collaboration with the Abbotsford Teachers Union, we expanded the UTalk program to 50 employees, offering more opportunities for growth and career development. We launched a revamped suite of leadership programs, ensuring that every emerging leader in Abbotsford feels supported to grow and succeed. Our focus on health and safety continued with environmental risk assessments completed at every school and site, reinforcing our commitment to safe, positive working and learning environments. And we recognize the people who make this district exceptional, honoring long-term service employees and celebrating excellence at our annual dinner and ABC Awards. The program has been refreshed for this coming year, and we look forward to celebrating even more of our people soon. Human Resources touches every school, every site, and every department, from hiring to retirement. Our goal is to build a workplace where people feel proud to work, empowered to grow, and inspired to make a difference every day. Because when our people thrive, our schools and our students thrive too.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I wonder if we could have your screen disappear there. There we go. I can see all my colleagues. All right. Colleagues, fire away. That was a great presentation. Trustee Rye.
Thank you. Great presentation. And before I say anything else, please thank yourself and your staff for an amazing job they do. So I was just noticing two things. Well, one thing and then one question. We are up to 55 UTOCs now, and I'm glad that that we can hire those. Is there any classes that still go empty at the end of the day, or now we have got TOCs for every teacher or staff absent, or do we still pull from other sources? Maybe that could be a question to Nathan. I'm not sure. So, and my second question is, do we keep track of how many students from our district come and work with us? That would be a really good track of people who might come to us. So do we have any sort of questions like analysis on that, or not really?
At this time, we do not, but I do think that is a wonderful idea, and I think in terms of the work that we're doing and the campaigns that we've got, I do think that that's something that we can incorporate. There's been discussion about whether or not an EA program might be something that we could consider. And that's something that's I think would be something really valuable for us to look into. And to your first question, Trustee Rye, there are from time to time some empty classrooms, but for the most part, I would say we do have coverage through TOCs or the UTOCs. We've also been able to expedite our LOP process for some UTOCs, so that has also created some longer term stability.
Oh, thank you so much. And you know what? It's not a like you don't have to go making a program to find who from our district joined us. That was just a question, and it would be really nice that we catch our own people and they work for us. But thank you.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
All right. Trustee Roach.
Yeah, thank you. Great presentation. Thanks very much. Human resources is such an important area for us. I'd love that you've expanded the awards program. I think the mentorship that's happening is excellent, so that more experienced teachers can pass on all of their tricks of the trade. And then I was really interested in looking at the results of the survey. I thought that was really great to see, and I really got the sense from you that we're open-minded in looking at these results and not being defensive at all, and taking the good with the bad, and hopefully we can improve in the areas that we need to. I loved your comment about a culture of safety and that staff can ask questions without reprisals, moving in that direction where people can feel really free to ask a question maybe they might have been reluctant to ask in the past. So that's really great. I was wondering how we could improve participation in the survey. I know it's great already, and I see that there's a category where people can be anonymous even about what their category of work is. But I was curious about that, and then curious also about comparing results of the survey over time so we can track trends.
Yes, so increasing participation is something that we're going to be having to put some thought to, and it's difficult because timing of the survey is, we timed it so that it was at the end of the year. So maybe we look at doing it earlier in the year, where there's maybe more pep and energy to fill out a survey, even though it's only 20 questions. We can also work with our colleagues in the unions, Teamsters and ATU, to maybe collaborate on an approach to ensure a stronger response rate. And then
Fantastic.
tracking, yes, that is something that we'll be able to do going forward once we've got a couple more surveys under our belt.
Excellent. Thanks, Trish.
Mhm.
Trustee Candirajwa.
Oops. Thank you, Chair Chair Peterson. Great presentation. It's always good to hear how the staff feel in the district. My curiosity too is you had mentioned for the future plans is to consider retention and recruitment strategy and to develop a safety plan campaign. So I'm curious if there's a way to see a correlation when we develop a plan to unpack the concerns of safety for our staff, and if there's a way to keep track of the staff that choose to stay in our district due to the changes we made in regard to safety.
Yes, I think that's we're doing okay. So currently we are doing exit interviews. So we have a survey that is provided to all employees that leave either for a different job or retire. We do exit interviews if they request an exit interview, and for exempt employees that leave, we also will conduct more of a comprehensive interview. It would be, I'm not sure how we would measure if somebody was thinking about leaving. I suppose we could include that in one of our survey questions going forward is, have you thought about leaving and have chosen to stay? That might be one way to measure it. So yes, that's something that we could include in our next survey.
Thank you.
Trustee Wilson. Vice Chair Wilson.
Thank you. Thank you to our Associate Superintendent. You know that this is a place that's a passion for me, human resources, labor relations, but more about the human resources, because what we really need are a happy staff that feel supported and safe. And I'm glad to see some of the results. I was looking at it a little more closely. One of the things that I wanted to, some of the things I wanted to highlight, and then I have a couple questions. One is I have confidence in my immediate supervisor. It's not a bad response. It's pretty good. There's room for improvement, but that's actually a pretty good response. I also love the response for the work I do. The work I do at the district is meaningful to me. I think that's really important for us to hear and to know, because it means that people are here because they want to do what's right for students and they're enjoying the work that they're doing. So I kudos to the folks that took the time to answer that and provide that feedback, because that does my heart quite a bit of good. There is certainly some other work to do. Of course, recommending Abbotsford School District is a good place to work. Is one of them, but I do also appreciate that because we've done this survey a little differently than we have in the past. We've had more authentic responses, shall I say. So I appreciate this, and I look forward to future pulse surveys in this regard. I did want to ask, similar to Trustee Rai around the UTalk piece, but also the increase in TTOCs and the decrease in teachers continuing. And I was wondering if you could shed a little light on that, and then I have a follow-up question.
So continuing, it has been difficult recruiting continuing teachers. Which is why and recruiting TOCs, there seems to be more of an appetite for teachers to take TOC positions. There's more flexibility, there's different responsibilities, and so I think that's reflected in the numbers where we were able to recruit more into the TOC pool than continuing.
Okay. And will some of those TTOCs, do you think, will they transfer into permanent positions? Possibly. Hopefully?
I'm hoping that they will, but I think that this is sort of that reflection of the going forward, some of the what people value in work, what the new generation of employees are looking for in work. So it doesn't surprise me. And it wouldn't surprise me if the numbers sort of continue in this way. We need to be agile. We do need continuing teachers, so we need to just find different ways of recruiting and attracting. To your earlier point about the engagement, there is without question enormous passion from everybody that works in the school district. And that goes from our bus drivers and crossing guards up to and including our teachers. So much passion for working with students and creating space for students to thrive. It has been wonderful to see that that has been such a finding that everyone loves the work that they do. So yeah, it's tremendous.
Thank you. And if the chair will just allow me a couple more. One is the in our support staff, those 3 categories. I noticed that we had more success in recruitment. I think that's a win for the district, but I do know that future forecasting is that fewer babies are being born and the population may decrease, which may affect our retention in the future. Not sure how far into the future. Can you comment on that, what that might look like going forward?
Well, I mean, it's part of recruiting and in general, the workforce going forward is, new generations of workers, fewer workers, the pool of worker will be smaller. So it's just around how can we remain agile and flexible and recruit and attract people for these positions that are vital and needed. So yes, I don't disagree. That's something that we'll be putting our minds to in the future.
I really appreciate your time to respond. Thank you.
Okay, and Trustee Kaler.
Thank you, Chair Peterson, and thank you, Patricia, for such a thorough presentation. The report highlights work on a new onboarding platform. Do we believe this will improve retention in the first year or so? And is there a way that we can evaluate its success?
Yes, I think maybe including a question in the survey, in our employee engagement survey would be one way of measuring how we did with onboarding. It's funny, one of the things that I've learned not particularly in this role, but in my work in HR, is that an employee's first day of work and their last day of work are the most meaningful. And so if we get it wrong on the first day of work, that sort of sets the tone for that career and how we are viewed and seen. So we want to really ensure that our employees understand and know how much they're valued by welcoming them into the district on their first day, and not even on the first day, but preceding that. So, signing the contract and coming in to get their ID badge. We want to make that process really special. And so, the new employee reception that we had last year was part of that, meant to really show the care and excitement that we had that these folks selected our district to work in, because there are plenty of districts that our employees could choose to work, and they've selected us. So we want to make them feel special and valued, because they are.
No, thank you. And I do agree. People remember the first and the last. So you're right. We have to make it special. Thank you. And thank you, Chair Peterson.
All right. Well, thank you, Associate Superintendent Laframboise. We kind of put you more through the grill more than other situations, I think, but I guess that's just an indication of how important your work is. And you continue that great work. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
All right. Superintendent Nang, our measuring up report.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. So I'm happy to bring to the board the measuring up report for the 24-25 school year. And I just want to comment on, so we had Associate Superintendent Laframboise Lowe and Senior Manager of Communications Christy Ferguson present to you aspects of what feeds into your strategic plan. Sorry for the dog barking in the background. And, last month you heard from our finance department and our facilities department, all to say that this is building towards the progress that we're making and what shaped this measuring up report. In the future months, we'll bring more district leaders to present different aspects, but this is really the culmination of the work in the 24-25 year that I will speak to now. So if I could get the report up on the screen, and Carissa, if I've thrown a curveball to you, just let me know.
You have indeed thrown a curveball at me.
My apologies, but maybe what I'll do is
I can grab it if you give me 1 minute. You can start talking and then it will magically appear.
All right.
I'll pay for that one later. What I want to do is the board has the report, and I just want to speak to some of the pieces in it. Again, your strategic plan is built on the 4 pillars of student success, optimized resources, engaging opportunities, and progressive workforce. And you're hearing from our staff the work that they are doing within that strategic plan. Our district, which has just over 21,000 students, is a large organization. And to the board's vision of trying to provide and ensure a world-class, innovative, and individualized experience for every student, that takes a village. And the reports that you are receiving all work together to make the board's vision come alive. And so within that, about 10% of our students are of Indigenous ancestry. About 18% are English language learners, with about 13% of our population being identified with disabilities or diverse abilities. And so it is with complexity that we move forward and we try to action the board's strategic plan. And so I want to highlight some of the pieces in that plan. I think one of the pieces I want to paint as well is the board's commitment to equitable and inclusive schools. And so underlying some of the work that I'll talk about is this idea of a world-class education in each one of our 46 schools and the accessibility of that to a student, no matter which school they attend to. That's the foundation of our work, to make sure that what they experience in each of our schools is the best in the province. With respect to the progressive workforce, and Chris, if I can get you, if it works, to flip through up to page 9. Thank you. And I just want to highlight a couple of things. I won't read all of the pieces, and certainly you heard some of this from Associate Superintendent Laframboise Lowe in terms of the work that we're doing in the area of employee recruitment and engagement. As the largest employer with over 3,600 employees, You heard about the importance of onboarding, and you look at 170 new teacher hires, 184 new support staff, and the work that goes into that recruitment and then the retention of those through the various programs that we have is no small feat. In addition to that, with the complexities in our system, ensuring that the environments we provide for our staff are safe and address any health issues. And so that work done by our occupational health and safety team is incredibly important. If we move over to the engaging opportunities page and the work that we've done around rights holders engagement. As over the last couple of years, as we look to Bill 40 and some of the work provincially that's been happening, we had some incredible work happening here by our Indigenous Education Department and our community. And so with that IEC, or in the Indigenous Education Council, we actually had work happening already. And so this speaks to the great relationships that we have with our local First Nations, so the Samath and Mathaqui communities, and the work that we're doing together to improve the outcomes for our Indigenous students. Additionally, working with the Fraser Valley Métis Association, and then the large urban Indigenous student population that we have, the numerous Indigenous support workers who work under the direction of our district principal, Allison Gardner, are doing some amazing work in our schools. If we look over into the optimized resources and the financial stewardship, and so Secretary Treasurer Peter Neal, as he came into the district here in August, and as we look back across the 24-25 school year, we continue to build public awareness of the budget and really promoting and encouraging participation as we move through the consultation process. And that will be continued as we move forward into the 25-26 year. A big piece of the work that's happening as well that contributes to the financial stewardship is the work that we're doing in the implementation of our ERP, so the large data system that we use to help ensure that we are financially healthy, in addition to creating efficiencies as it comes to payroll and HR. And you can see there, just in the bottom page, the snapshot there of $290 million brought in revenue, and some of the breakdown of where where the costs go to within that $290 million. If I go over and we look over at information technology in the next page, this past summer, as a part of the 24-25 commitments, we did our rollout. And so this rollout was no small undertaking by our ITC staff, with over 1,800 new laptops and 200 new desktops having to be put into place over the course of a summer, which is no small feat. And so we are incredibly appreciative of the work that that department has done to make sure that we have up-to-date technology in the hands of our teachers and our students. In addition to this, as we know, as we step into a landscape where technology is just part of what we have to use, the cybersecurity piece becomes incredibly important, and our continued efforts to make sure that while we're being innovative with technology, that we're being responsible with the security pieces that exist with that innovation. I want to move over to the student success pillar. And this is the data that was presented to you last month as a part of our framework for enhancing student learning. So our requirement to the ministry, which is essentially what is covered under the board strategic plan under the student success pillar. So I will run through this quickly, but just highlighting a couple of things. And in the coming months, you'll hear from our assistant superintendents who guide a lot of this work through our elementary, middle, and secondary schools. But if we look at literacy achievement on the next page, page 14, and again, I will highlight for the board, there are some provincial trends that we unfortunately are similar to, where, where there is a decline in the overall results when we look at literacy. And this is something that our team has been attuned to, that we continue to try and do things in different ways and to engage staff. I'll note that provincially, the ministry has put some guidance out around some of the early literacy measures in the form of a literacy screener, which our curriculum department is hard at work, and teachers in schools are implementing this year. And so we continue to work on that piece with respect to the literacy achievement and different ways of improving the results through a variety of strategies. And so you'll see there some of the emerging needs and some of the work that will be happening with respect to access to resources, critical thinking development, and this idea of literacy. And then on the future plan side of that page, our continued work around district literacy assessments and our continued implementation of a consistent literacy framework, which really looks to tie together some conversations and deepen the understanding of how kids begin to read, and as we move towards trying to achieve a more literate student population, what that looks like in terms of a balanced literacy approach or program. If we look at the next page with respect to numeracy achievement, again, some similar results, again, shared with you last month as a part of our FESL. And we continue to do some work in this area. What I would highlight or note for you, and again, the grade 10 assessment, which I know we've had some conversations with, this idea of numeracy versus math. And then as we continue to look at how that assessment is completed in our secondary schools, with a better understanding, both from an instructional lens and what the ministry has set out for us with that assessment, and in our conversations with students, that we would hope to see improvements in the area of that grade 10 numeracy assessment. Again, you'll see identification of some emerging areas of need with respect to the work that we do to support our leaders and our educators. And again, that notion of numeracy versus mathematics. And then our future plans around the implementation of a district-wide numeracy framework, and a continued look at the other ways we're assessing numeracy aside from some of the provincial measures that we're required to do. A couple of other areas to touch on if we move to the next page with respect to graduation and transition to post-secondary. The 5-year grad rate, which I'll say is at an 89% level, puts us near the top, and it's a very good number. But we need to continue to look at that 11% that are not making there, and the disparity that exists between all learners and some of our priority populations. And so we continue to look at that. Some of those gaps, to look at, again, exploring the career pathways. Trustee Rauch talked about the district planning team and some of the conversations that are going on there, and we'll be having future conversations, because to understand what young people are looking for and need with respect to post-secondary and careers, that's something we need to attend to and be nimble as an organization. And so again, you'll see some future plans there with respect to potential expansion of dual credit programs, career program support, and then looking at how we support learners to get to graduation through different structures like grad verification meetings. On the next page, with respect to student well-being, we've talked about this idea and the importance of students feeling welcome, feeling safe, and feeling like they belong. And you'll see that, about 3/4 of our students would identify school as a place where they feel welcome, as well as feeling safe. And we're working on, improving the do you feel like you belong? And this would be attached to some of the board's conversations and the priorities around extracurricular, and looking at what contributes to a student feeling like they belong and what they have opportunity in schools for. And then the last one there, and a question that we continue to look at, is this idea of 2 or more adults at school that care for you. And so we have some ongoing work that's happening in our secondary schools led by our Assistant Superintendent, Bruce Cunnings, to examine this idea of care and belonging at school and connection. What I found interesting to note is when you look at that 2 or more, and you look at the diverse learners and you look at the 70% higher than the other groups there, probably speaks to the outstanding work that's happening by our support staff and their support of learners with disabilities and diverse abilities. And again, just some of the outstanding work that is happening in schools by a variety of staff, teachers, and support staff. If we look at the last page, again, under student success and looking at student well-being, we continue to look at mental health and social emotional learning capacity. So understanding that student well-being is connected to literacy and numeracy achievement, and that's a part of that work. We continue to know that family and community engagement is important. And so you heard from today from Christy around some of our strategies to reach more families and to make sure that we're connecting in ways that help bring family and community into the school. Recognizing that part of our population are multi-language learners, and so support and that SLIFE acronym stands for students who have had their formal learning interrupted or have not had any formal learning. And so recognizing that that particular population comes in with a set of needs that we have to address. And so when we look at the future plans that we have in place, our continued work in the family engagement domain, to work at our multi-language learner and SLIFE-specific resources, and to continue to refine our inclusive practices, so the work of our learning support services team and supporting the students who come to us with a variety of complex learning needs. So with that, we have a video. And so here is the measuring up video for the 24-25 year.
You'll have to give me another minute to cue it up, please. 1 second.
Thanks, Carissa.
Each year, our Measuring Up report tells a story, not just about numbers and outcomes, but about people. It's about students experiencing the joy of learning, teachers opening doors to new possibilities, and a community that believes every child deserves to thrive. In Abbotsford schools, learning is alive in classrooms, hallways, playgrounds, and every place curiosity takes them. Across our district, we're committed to providing every student with an exceptional, innovative, and personalized learning experience, from classrooms to playing fields, from creative projects to community partnerships. We've celebrated remarkable achievements this year, moments that reflect both student success and staff excellence. As we look ahead, the Board of Education remains steadfast in its priorities, supporting learning that inspires, teaching that transforms, and schools that nurture every child's potential.
Last year, more than 20,000 students filled our schools with energy, creativity, and wonder. From the excitement of kindergarten to the determination of graduating seniors, we saw welcoming spaces and student success grow across our district. The Abbotsford School District is a community where almost 100 languages are spoken, a place where education brings people together and possibility feels limitless. Our staff are the heart of our story. This year, we welcomed many new faces across the district, expanded mentorship and leadership programs, and continued building workplaces where people feel proud, supported, and inspired to grow. When our team feels supported, our students flourish. We also continued strengthening how we communicate through new digital tools, modernized systems, and creative ways to share learning. Technology is helping us to tell stories, amplify student voice, and build stronger bridges between schools and families. partnerships remain central to our work. Together with the Samath First Nation and Mathqui First Nation, the Fraser Valley Métis Association, and many community partners, we're creating hands-on, culturally grounded learning experiences for our students. These relationships are helping us build schools where every learner feels seen, valued, and connected to place. We've seen innovation in teaching literacy and numeracy, strong graduation results, those everyday moments when students are engaged, growing, and proud of their accomplishments.
To our staff, thank you for leading with heart. To our families and community partners, thank you for walking alongside us. And to our students, you remind us every day why this work matters. To learn more about the successes of the past year, I invite you to read the full Measuring Up report at abbeyschools.ca.
Well, thank you, Superintendent Ming, for sharing this report, and a note to Trustee Kaler. Yes, you were not in that picture that showed the trustees, and of course it was pre-election, so we've updated that, and glad to have you part of the team. All right, colleagues, any comments, questions? Trustee Kaler.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. Yes, I'm glad to be in there now. And thank you, Superintendent Ng, for the important work you do every single day. In the 2023-2024 school year, only 76% of students from grades 4, 7, and 10 said they feel safe at school, which to me is very concerning because our goal is to make sure every student feels safe at school. There shouldn't be anyone walking into classrooms not feeling safe. Would you happen to know if that percentage has increased or decreased in the last year or so after the report?
Yeah, so we will be getting some further results. So those results come from our student learning survey, which is done with the ministry. And so you can see over the 5-year trend, it has stayed, I'll say, relatively stable. And so that 24, a quarter of our students who didn't mark feeling safe at school is something that we need to pay attention to. Given that this measure is over grades 4, 7, and 10, there may be different reasons why a grade 4 student may feel that they aren't safe at school compared to a grade 10. And I think those are some of the active discussions that are happening within our levels and that our leadership and teachers are looking at with respect to seeing if that can improve.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee White.
Yeah, Arsh stole my bit there, but that's okay. There's lots of things to talk about here. Really, I think the public should be aware that
we lost you again.
Sorry about that. Even though we have 4 pillars, we all agree that student success really is our primary pillar and that the other ones exist to support that. So there are ways, there are many things about this report that are troubling and ways that, us, like many other places in the province, as Superintendent Ming pointed out, really aren't measuring up the way that we wish we were. And I think this is something we should be talking more about at the school board level. I'm glad it's being brought today. I hope there'll be lots of discussion about it. I guess I'm going to focus my question on the math section because usually I look at other parts. A few years ago, Trustee Rauch and I attended a meeting of math department heads in high schools, and they were really, I was surprised to hear that there was a bit of an ideological battle going on behind the scenes when it came to math. And I know that the way math is taught has been changed over the last 10 years, certainly since I was a kid. And there was definitely a feeling from the math department heads at the time, this was a couple of years ago, and they brought in some professors from across the country, that kids weren't coming to high school prepared to do high school math. And that because math is hierarchical, if you don't learn grade 3 math, you can't learn grade 4 math. If you don't learn grade, you get it. Like math is hierarchical. It's very hard to catch up when you fall behind. And so their criticism was essentially inquiry-based math in elementary and middle schools. And so I guess my question is, has there been any shift in the last few years based on the data, because obviously the data isn't good, away from a inquiry based in math? Like, inquiry can be good for other things, but math, it doesn't seem to be working. So I guess that's one question. And then the other question would be, are the math department heads being consulted when it comes to figuring out why kids in elementary, middle school aren't being prepared for high school? So those are my two questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. And so, yes, the area of numeracy, I'll say, and it's not a new curriculum anymore, but what I'll say is the revised curriculum, where we move from, I'll say, content-based to a competency-based. So the ministry sets direction, and the curriculum that we have is a competency-based curriculum based on big ideas, standards, and competencies that span across. And so the idea, and you'll note in the on page 15 of the Measuring Up report, there is this emerging area of need to talk about understanding of numeracy versus mathematics, right? And because the literacy piece comes into this and the use of logic to solve. Now, that's not to say that math is not important, right? And number facts and number sense and those pieces still need to be taught in the mastery of those to help, right? Not dissimilar to hard to read if you can't decode, right? You don't know the sounds of the letters, etc. And so when it gets to some of the higher order thinking, and you're not wrong in that you're scaffolding things over time across the grades. What we know is continued conversation around math versus numeracy, and so the provincial government's perspective and the numeracy assessment, and what I pointed to where our results are not where we would want it to be, and that's been noted. And this idea of how do we continue to move and work towards having students that are both literate and numerate. And sometimes the confusion that exists around math versus numeracy and the curriculum that we're required to do by the provincial government that is competency based. And so you'll see, again, some of the work that we're doing to establish a numeracy framework, which involves teachers, involves district staff, at the different levels. There's different ways in which they're bringing together both leaders and teachers for conversations. And a lot of that work is facilitated by our curriculum department, which you'll begin to hear some of that work next month. But it's this idea of a competency-based approach, which is our curriculum, competency-based, along with some of our local work around trying to create a district-wide understanding through a numeracy framework. So kind of parallel to some of the literacy framework that we've been doing over the course, I'll say, of the last year or two.
Thank you for that. Trustee Kandarajwan.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. Thank you for the presentation, Superintendent Ning. I just had a couple questions. The one thing I know it's a constant conversation on the board is when it comes the numbers, right? When it comes to students feeling safe and how they belong and how do they feel welcome, and if there's two or more adults that care about them in school. So my curiosity is is there any way we can dig deeper in that, in the sense that is there any value in asking follow-up questions in class, as in how do you feel welcomed, how do you feel safe, how do you feel like you belong, and which adults actually impact you in school, so that it can give us a better understanding of what they're feeling in school.
Yeah. So I think there are other mechanisms. So we use the youth development instrument as one measure, and that's some work that we're doing with SFU and Chart Lab, and then our student learning survey also asks a very similar question. But it is something I know at the board table that has been asked. Why do more kids not identify that there's two or more? And so I know we're looking at some student. I know there's a student out there who's interested in digging more into this idea. I know we're doing some work around social connection, right? And some of the things that have happened over the course of the last 5 years that maybe are contributing to this sense from a youth perspective of less care from adults. And so it is something we'll continue to ask. I know that we've asked specifically. It's something that we addressed in the district planning team, if not last year, the year before. And so remains something that we'll have to continue to dig into to determine which students are perhaps feeling less connected to adults in our schools, so that we can focus and target some attention to that particular
Thank you.
group.
And if there, even just a follow-up on that, if there's a way that students can share that information anonymously, maybe that's one way for us to get a real sense of how they're feeling. Thank you.
Trustee White, I think you might have had a follow-up question and I might have cut you off. I apologize for that. I'll go to Trustee Roach and Trustee Ryan and come back to you. Okay, Trustee Roach, please.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Peterson. Superintendent, and great presentation. Thank you for that. Most of the board has seen these numbers before, and we appreciate those deep dives. Of course, we're all concerned about numeracy and literacy these days, and I'm really thankful that that's a big focus for our group here. Those are the core subjects, you might say, that in science. So yeah, like I'm just reflecting a little bit. When kids do well in numeracy and literacy, and they have a passion for what they're learning, I think that reflects in their appreciation for school and how they feel in their mental health and even safety and things like that. So yeah, just echoing back to how important this is. When Trustee White mentioned that meeting we had with the math teachers at the time, that made me think about what Trish mentioned earlier about a culture of safety. You know, in those days, that meeting was, you might recall, a little bit on the down low, you know, and I'm hopeful that we can build a culture in our district where any teacher who thinks that they have something to contribute to, you know, improve learning in numeracy or literacy can come forward and just express their thoughts about it. So I feel like that's happening more, and we're moving in that direction. So I just wanted to say I'm thankful for that direction that we're moving in.
Thank you.
Trustee Rye.
I'll just wait for Trustee White to finish, because we cut him off in the middle, I guess.
Okay, Trustee White, again, did you have a follow-up question?
Yes, Dan, I appreciate that coming back to me. I may have, but now it slipped my mind. I think I was just going to, I don't know. I think I was just going to recommend that kind of like what Mike said, to just have a culture of, like, you know, really listening to the math department heads and working collaboratively with them. But it sounds like that's happening. So that's it for now. Thank you.
And if a specific question comes back, there's never a bad time to ask. We meet enough where we can get back to it. Trustee Rye.
Thank you, Superintendent Ning, for the report. Really wholesome report. Lots of information in there. I just wanted to say that, like, with the increase in, say, English language learners at going up to 18% and diverse learning going up almost to 13%, and so many other things that as a district we have to face. And I'm very grateful to you and your team and to all the staff that our numbers, our graduation rates are still holding steady at almost 90%, one of the highest. And on the other things that we see, maybe a little bit of negative trends, you're working on that. But I just wanted to say that there is so much positivity happening in our school district that we should not forget about that we are doing a lot of positive stuff as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Ryan. What I'll say is we have some of the best teachers and support staff and district staff out there. And so what you're seeing as we come out of the 24-25 year, and as you're hearing reports connected to some of the work in the 25-26 year, is because of those great people that are committed to the students here in the Abbotsford School District. And so it's a pleasure to bring the report to you, although some of the numbers we would want higher. I think we could all collectively agree. We have outstanding staff that dedicate hours beyond the school day and are committed to the success of our kids, and I'm proud to be a part of that.
Okay, one follow-up, if you don't mind. I was really surprised and really mind-boggled by that this, the school district provides almost 8,000 meals every week. That is a huge number. It's a huge number. So thank you to everything that all of you do.
Thank you.
Should we be concerned that I just got a message that says we have 5 minutes left in our meeting? Well, anyhow, Superintendent Ng, thank you for this report. This is our work, right? Student success is our work, and it's nice to see that we have some things to celebrate, but we also recognize we have more work to do. One more item under education, and again, Superintendent Ng.
Great, thank you, Chair Peterson. Associate Superintendent Laframboise stole my thunder a little bit as one of her slides. And so I just wanted to bring to the board's attention, as a part of who we are and the commitment of our board, the mainstay or the tradition of honoring our long service employees and really recognizing the dedication and commitment that they have has been just a part of what we've done every year. And for the upcoming year, as you heard, to punctuate the point of recognition and celebrating the success and the commitment that's in our district, we are combining that and changing the format. So we will continue to have a meeting. We will combine the long service more intentionally with the ABC initiative, or the Above and Beyond Champions Awards of Excellence. So as we move towards that, you'll see a change in the format. So while we started this in 2021, it has grown, and to where we are now going to look at some changes to the format of our long service to where it becomes the ABC Awards of Excellence nights, of which long service is a part of. So again, to support the board's position about recognizing and appreciating our employees, you'll see some changes in that for the upcoming year.
A great initiative. Thank you for that. All right, let's move to operations. Secretary Treasurer Neil, school budget calendar.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to present the report. As you can identify here, in June 2022, the Board of Education approved the trustee indemnity report that provides for the calculation of trustee indemnities effective December 1st, 2022, and for each of the following 4 years. So the information we're presenting here is to update the board around the 4th year, as we are in the final year of that effort and work that was done. And I'm happy to also share that as this is an election year, we'll be also starting to work to form the next indemnity committee for recommendations to be brought forward to the board in 2026. So I present this board for information and welcome any questions.
All right, and did we miss the school budget calendar, the item before that? And maybe we'll have questions related to this. And then
I have the school budget calendar as 8.7, which is 2 items from now, Chair. 8.5 is our trustee indemnity report.
Did we lose Chair Peterson? I think we did. So
It did, yes.
I'll step in. Thank you for that, Secretary Treasurer Neil.
Thank you.
And we will move on to 8.6, update on ERP and enterprise resource planning. And there he is. He's back. So I'll turn it back to Chair Peterson. Just so Chair Peterson is aware, we're moving on to 8.6, and then school budget calendar is 8.7. Thanks.
Stan, you're muted. Oh, Chair Peterson, you're muted.
with apology, I have no idea what happened here, but let's continue. Were there any questions or comments around trustee indemnity? Seeing none? Okay, and how about the school budget calendar?
With apologies, Chair, if you're okay with that, I'll go to 8.6 first, which is the
Sure.
Enterprise Resource Planning Implementation Update. For the benefit of the board, the district staff are moving forward and are diligently working, and we did provide a written report in your agenda on the great work that's being done to get us up to speed. We had a very successful implementation of SparkRock last year, and we're continuing to leverage that as we move forward on bringing on Ensembly, which will be our HR and payroll software. So the district staff met with the Ensembly team on October 28th to initiate our kickoff meeting and demonstrations. We'll be, as we move forward, doing conceptualized training, data migration and configuration and testing, which will take place over the next 6 months. And we're moving forward and being very diligent in having this as a go live date for May 31st, 2026. I'm also happy to share that we currently have a framework and timeline and key milestones. So we've been meeting with the Ensembly and SparkRock implementation team with our own staff and developing those key milestones. Are in process to have a detailed timeline. We're also coordinating this work with our finance payroll team, our human resources, our data specialist, technology services, and we have also an HR consultant who's an expert in moving districts forward on implementation of software of exactly this type. And she's highly knowledgeable of it, both of Ensembly and this process. So we're very thankful to have that as a member in our team. We also have demos that are going to be done here. So demonstrations are being done with the payroll and finance and HR to see the full functionality of the new software that's coming on board. That's going to provide a lot of advantages to both our operational side and to our staff. And I'm very happy to also share, just in some immediate timelines, our next touch point meeting will be as early as tomorrow. And we continue to meet if you want to, the project leads at least once every 2 weeks. And we're looking to continue this initiative so that it's highly successful in both implementation and results for the district by the end of this year. So I'm very happy to provide that report. And if there's any questions or any further requests for information from the Board of Education, I'd be very happy to try and answer as best I can.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Trustee Roach.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Secretary Treasurer. I am curious to know, first of all, I just wanted to say thanks for everyone's hard work on implementation, because I know these are massive systems and require a lot of heavy lifting from groups all throughout the district. I'm curious to know on payroll. I had heard that we're implementing a new system and maybe there were some difficulties there. I just wanted to know if payroll is up and running and people are getting paid. And then I'm curious also with some of these additions to SparkRock, if they're in the budget or in a separate line item, if they were planned for or if those are extra. Thank you.
No, great question. So Trustee Roush, I can share with you my experience that the minute somebody doesn't get paid, we hear about it pretty quick. So I can give you some pretty strong assurances that is occurring. And one of the great things about the implementation that we've proceeded on is we've recognized relatively early on that although SparkRock has a lot of strengths and does a lot of good things and does operate fairly effectively as a payroll HR system in some organizations, Abbotsford is of a type that it wasn't quite a fit. And so we continued to use our legacy system, which was Atrieve. And Atrieve has continued to be our, legacy system. It's continues to be reliable, will be stale dated, and so it did require us to move forward on this change. And so as we're moving forward on that change, yes, I can assure you, and I'm sure our superintendent can weigh in if he'd like to add any further information. But it was part of the planning. It was part of the consideration as we move forward. These plans were actually developed prior to me coming on board. And my role right now is kind of picking up the ball, if you want, and if you want to use the football analogy, I'm taking it down the goal line with the rest of the team. And so the work was started. It was foundational. It did a lot of great stuff. And what I'm doing right now is just making sure the right people are part of the team, that we have strong timelines, deliverables, and we're working with Assembly to get us to the finish line. I'd also like to add that SparkRock and Assembly are in team. So they're not two different systems, even though we use two different terminologies. If you want to think of SparkRock and Assembly as two names for the same thing, that's pretty accurate. And so and in many things I get to enjoy with this school district since I've joined it. It's an amazing group of team professionals that I get to work with, and I'm just super impressed with how much work has been done so far, and how far we're going to get to make sure this is successful. So I hope that answered your question, and again, be very, very happy to answer any further questions.
Thank you. Yes, that does answer my question, and thank you again to everyone who's doing all that hard work. Thanks.
Okay.
Chair Peterson, you're muted again.
I'm going to get this technology down, I'm sure. Anyhow, we have some legal business, property disposition
Excuse me,
bylaw.
sorry, Chair, I do apologize, but I'm just going to highlight that the school budget calendar is in your package of information. This is 8.7, and with your support, we do have a recommended motion. So I'll turn it back over to Chair. I apologize again.
No problem. All right. So we need a mover for this.
So moved, Rye.
Trustee Rye.
Second
Trustee
for
Roach.
Wills. Oh, okay.
Under discussion.
Just while people are voting, I'll just add in that in developing the calendar, for the peace of mind of the trustees and for the work that my staff do, this has been reviewed by the Assistant Secretary Treasurer to ensure alignment with the budget process. As you can appreciate, the school budget calendar and the budget calendar generally is far more detailed when you kind of get into the weeds of things. And so we wanted to make sure that the board calendar from a big picture governance perspective aligns with the work that our staff are doing. And many of the key milestone dates that are being identified in your calendar are very consistent with previous years. So with your support, I'm hoping to have this again accepted as presented. And happy to answer any questions.
I would just like to say that some of us haven't got the voting buttons.
Right,
I can see 4 people have voted, but the other 3 are sitting at red, but we haven't got a voting button.
Right.
Okay. I will click on vote on motion one more time on our online tool. And I can see that there's only 2 that haven't been voted yet, Trustee Rye and Chair Peterson.
Yes, and for whatever reason, I did not get voting buttons.
I haven't got it yet either.
Okay. If you try refreshing your online screen, it might click in. I can't.
Yeah, I'm doing that as well.
With your support, if Trustee Ryan,
yes.
Would you say yes or no?
I will say yes.
Yes,
Okay.
and as well, yes.
I can manually reflect those votes, and you are both yes, and I think we're good.
Thank you very much. I hope we can get back onto the next one, because there's never. Okay, now let's get into that property disposition.
Thank you. So as you can review in the information, and this is fairly familiar, I believe, to the Board of Education, but I will read out loud the key points that now, and this is the support we're looking for now. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of School District Number 34, Abbotsford, hereby authorizes the granting of blanket statutory right-of-way to British Columbia Hydro and Power Authority and TELUS Communications Inc. for the purposes of installation, operation, and maintenance of electrical and communication works in a portion of land located within 6 meters of either side of the center of the alignment of the works as defined in the standard charge terms. And we've identified the property address. This obviously comes with the support of administration, and we request the support of the board to move forward on this.
All right. So looking for a mover for all three.
No, dear. Okay. I'm back. I was going to move it, but I can't if he fell off. So, who did the moving? Trustee Rai, seconded by.
I seconded it after you.
But I'm chairing now, so I can't move it. So I'm going to make you the mover.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And
I'll move it.
thank you. And Trustee Rouch, any questions before we move on to the next reading? Okay, none. Call for the vote, please. We have a mover for the second or first reading, or wait, where are we at? Yeah.
Just with apologies, just because I'm online with everybody else, just confirming that Trustee Peterson is no longer part of the meeting or did vote. I have him reflect as a vote.
I was, would you be okay with me going to the Abbotsford Gala, sorry, the Langley Gala on Thursday night? Jared
Sorry?
would pick me up. Jared,
So Jared, we can hear Trustee White. We can hear you.
So I do reflect that Chair Peterson did vote on that and voted in the affirmative, just for the benefit of the Board of Education.
Thank you. So now we move to the next first reading, please.
Move first reading.
Trustee Rai, seconded by, I can't see everybody. I can take my hand down, that would help. Trustee Kaler. Thank you. Voting buttons, please. Okay, thank you. We're waiting for finals. We can put Chair Peterson as absent.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's
I'm
back.
back, but I'm having a difficult time with all of this. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I support. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I didn't get voting buttons, so I'm going to leave my computer alone and have you simply vote for me in the affirmative. Thank you.
Okay, I turn it back over to you. Thank you. I turn it back over to you, Trustee Peterson, for second reading.
Okay, I'm just
Chair
confirming
Peterson.
for you, Chair Peterson, that previous vote was unanimous and supported.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
Move
Second reading.
Move second
Trustee
reading.
Rai, thank you. Trustee Andarajuan, thank you. And you may have to vote for me manually because for whatever reason, my computer is not behaving.
Okay, trustees should have the vote available to them.
I vote in the affirmative.
Thank you, Chair. And I can confirm for you that vote was unanimous and passed.
All right. And next, third and final. Looking for
I will, that the board, school district number 34, Abbotsford, property disposition bylaw number 89, be given third reading, reconsidered, and finally passed and adopted on this 4th day of November 2025.
all right.
If we could have a seconder, Chair.
Trustee White has
yeah.
seconded it.
Thank you, Trustee White. Thank you. And was that a comment or question you had, Trustee White, or just seconding?
this time it was just a seconding.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
the
Okay.
clarification.
And voting buttons up. And again, I will vote in the affirmative.
Okay, I'm confirming that the Chair Peterson voted in the affirmative and it was passed unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, and again, I apologize for whatever's happening with my computer, but let's move along. Reviewed board policies.
Thank you, Chair. So for the benefit of the board, it's my pleasure to just quickly review, I hope, 4 policies that were considered by the policy committee. The policy committee met earlier this month, and we reviewed policy 1, which was foundation statements, policy 9, which was board representative, policy 13, recruitment and selection of personnel, and policy 20, disposal of lands and improvements. And as you can note in my memo to the Board of Education, that all 4 policies were reviewed. The policies, as determined by myself and the Board of Trustees, the policy committee, were clear, necessary, and effective in promoting sound governance practices with no recommendations at this time.
All right, so we're looking for approval of, well, that's simply for info, yes, because there were no changes with it. Okay,
Thank
but
you.
we did revise some, and the policy committee put forward three policies to approve the changes made and to have further discussion in and around these. The first is our trustee code of conduct.
Thank you, Chair. So I present the recommendations of the policy committee, and as you can note in the second attachment in your electronic school board tool, there were a few recommendations being recommended there. Under 6.2, there was a recommendation, and 6.7, there was a recommendation, both of which in this particular policy, we requested legal advice and was supported by legal consultants as appropriate and would add value to the board's work. So with our recommendation and the recommendation of the policy committee, we would present this for your consideration.
Okay.
Move to approve, right?
Well, I was going to do that, but second with a comment.
Second with a comment. Thank you, Trustee Wilson, and your comment.
No, unless Trustee Rye would like to open, I
I'm
can.
good. I'm good.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. My comment is that there is some work being done provincially regarding trustee code of ethics. However, the work that I've been digging into and the conversations I've had elsewhere, it's that currently what they're looking at and working on is revisions to the local government, so municipal codes of conduct. So I support the changes, recognizing that and effective immediately, actually, if the mover doesn't mind.
Yeah.
And are you okay with, may I
Yes,
ask?
yes.
Thank you. Effective immediately, and that with this, the work that's being done around this can come back if there are further changes recommended by the Ministry of Education.
Thank you. All right, Trustee Roach.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we all recall in the policy meeting that the legal suggested there are some suggested amendments to this policy. So I was going to respectfully suggest that we amend this motion to include something along the lines of, with the understanding that the board will formally review this policy again prior to, and then pick a date. I was going to suggest December 31st, 2026, because that is what we discussed in the policy committee meeting.
Trustee Rye, do you accept that amendment to the motion?
I'm not, so sorry, remind me again, Trustee Rauch. I was
so
in that meeting, okay, just remind me again where this is coming from.
Yeah, the legal representative suggested that these couple of amendments were quick ones that he suggested, but he also said in our meeting that there was a more fulsome review that he would suggest of that policy. And we said, okay, we'll bring it forward to the public meeting for approval with the understanding that there would be a further review of that same policy sometime in the relatively near future. So I just thought that should be reflected in this motion.
Trustee Roach could, Trustee
Go
Roach,
ahead.
could I suggest an alternative that we just make a commitment that it'll be number 1 on our next policy meeting?
Sure. Yep. I'd be happy with that. As long as it's recorded somewhere, I just don't want it to fall through the cracks, right?
Well, I will make sure that will be number 1 in our next policy meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Peterson,
Yes.
can I suggest that this be recorded in the minutes so that it doesn't fall off?
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So there's a record.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chair, with respect, I just want to confirm that it's not a friendly amendment at this time. The motion stands as is, but the minutes will reflect that the policy committee will review this at its next meeting.
Thank you. I think, are you okay with that, Trustee Roach?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, Trustee White.
Yeah, thank you. As one of the trustees for whom this, has been used against, this board policy 6, I am concerned about the changes being made in 6.7. The first part isn't really a big deal. It just simplifies the language to say issue a public statement. But the striking out of the final part where it says, before making its finding public, the board will provide the affected trustee with the opportunity to address the board on this issue. And I wasn't really, I found the lawyer's reasoning in this regard to be a little unintelligible. I think he seemed to suggest that somehow it would be public. But I want the trustees to look at 6.6, that there are different levels of sanctions that can be applied. So my sanctions, the ones that were applied to me, were by definition public because I can't, attend certain meetings and so forth. But it could be as simple, if you look at 6.6.1, if it's something maybe minor, it might literally just be the board chair writing a letter of censure.
Point of order, Chair.
Point of-
Point of order.
Yeah.
There is legal discussion going on within this and probably should not and should be discussed in confidence because legal is privileged.
Can I then suggest that we continue this very discussion at our next policy committee meeting where we address your concerns related to this?
But aren't we voting on these changes now, or did I misunderstand?
It might, can I suggest then that given your concern that we table this motion until a subsequent policy meeting?
Regarding my point of order, Chair, we could table it. That would take a motion that would have to pass, 2/3, I think, but, and I'm not making that motion. I still think it's okay to move this as is and then bring it back to the next policy meeting. Thank you.
I would concur with that we discussed this quite a bit in the policy meeting, and I would strongly encourage us not to talk about legal issues here because land legal is not part of public discourse. It is privileged, and it should be talked in camera or other private meetings.
I'm going to support that. Yes, that point of order, and I'm going to ask us to move this discussion to our next policy committee meeting.
If I could support the chair for just a moment. If the board would like to vote to refer this, the board may do so. The board may also choose to offer amendments. I do agree that the conversation on legal matters should not be discussed publicly. And so I would ask trustees to consider that. If individual trustees would like to debate the changes, they may also do so as an amendment. So the board does have a couple of options in front of them. Like I said, I think given the conversation on this particular policy, if there's a certain reluctance on it, and again, I would advise the chair in this instance to either offer an opportunity for an amendment or referral, or as I believe it's already been moved, we have a first and seconder for a vote.
All right. Well, we do have somebody who has moved it and seconded it with a commitment to have further discussion on this. So I'm going to move forward with some more discussion around it, as long as it doesn't get into the legal aspects of it, and with a commitment that we will look again at this policy at our next on our next policy committee meeting. Trustee White.
Yeah, I guess I'm just confused. Are we saying we can't discuss this policy at all because by definition this policy is legal? Or is it just being said that the specific thing that I was saying was veering into legal?
My
Like-
understanding is it would be what's specific to what you're asking of it. Yes.
Okay,
We would
so
ask, sorry, Trustee Wade, if I could just interject for a quick second, I do apologize. It wouldn't be correct for individual trustees to share legal advice that they received in the confidence of the process. But if you disagree or you would like to offer amendments to the recommendations outside of quoting our legal, please do so.
Okay. Well, I apologize. If that was the mistake, then I apologize for saying that. So I think then what I can just say is I would like to keep that one sentence in, which states that a trustee would be informed before it would be made public. Because I think that there is value. I mean, in my situation, it didn't bother me that it was made public, but I could imagine another trustee, if they were to receive a notice of censure, it's not necessary that some of those things would be made public if it was minor. So I just like that extra step of the trustees being informed. So that's the part of this that I don't like. And that would be the reason I would vote against this motion.
Thank you.
If with the chair's support, can I offer that as a friendly amendment or a amendment to be voted on?
I think it would have to be an amendment to be voted on because the policy committee did put it forward as is.
I apologize, Chair, but I believe Trustee Rai can accept that as a friendly amendment or not.
Trustee Rai?
I would encourage us to say that this came from the policy committee, and it was like Trustee Raut said that in the very near future, it came from the policy committee for it to be approved in this meeting, and like Trustee Raut said, in the very near future, it was going to be worked on again. So what the policy committee had said that let's vote on this now, and in the next policy committee, whenever that is, this will come back and the additional steps will be taken there. So I would just suggest we leave it as what the policy committee had sent it as.
Let's
leave it
ask
as
the
is.
will of the trustees. How many will accept the amendment?
Apologies, just because we're on an online format. If I could have a verbal yes or no per trustee, we'll record the vote.
Yes.
Yes, from Trustee Roach.
Yes, I can accept the amendment. Trustee Keeler?
Trustee Rai?
Oh, I was suggesting not to accept it.
So no. Okay, Trustee.
Point of order, the chair has to, or sorry, the mover has to accept it. It's not a straw vote.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm learning some procedural things. So the mover has not accepted it, so the amendment cannot be made. All right.
May I
Okay,
suggest
sorry,
that if the mover wants to, or sorry, if Trustee White would like to move an amendment and have a seconder and take that to a vote, he can do that.
Okay, then I would like to officially move the amendment. I think that's where we were getting at, but let's make
Okay,
it official.
yes.
I believe it was
I
a
kind of
proper
assumed-
amendment that was offered at this point in time. So I have currently, for the proper amendment, 3 in favor so far.
Just, okay, where are we? Trustee
Do
Cantarajwan,
we have a seconder?
seconder for the amendment?
I'll second the amendment.
Okay. Thank you. All right, let's do it. Let's do our vote. Now we're voting on the amendment to the motion. All right. Let's do a verbal again. It's Trustee White,
Yes.
Trustee Cantarajwan. Oh,
No.
Trustee Roach,
Yes.
Trustee Kaler,
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
No.
Who am I missing?
I believe we have
Trustee Rye.
Trustee Rye.
No.
And myself, no.
Okay,
So
and
that-
I would like to confirm for the chair that the amendment was not successful.
Thank you. Okay, so we're back to the original motion that is presented as presented by the policy committee, and we will vote on that now unless there is comment. Trustee Roach?
Yeah, I have a comment. Thank you, Chair Peterson. I just wanted to make a comment that I think that the discussion surrounding the code of ethics is not one of legal in nature. We're conflating that with the fact that there was a legal representative at the policy meeting. So I think we can definitely have discussion around which parts of this trustee code of ethics we like or don't like. So and we might recall that the suggested amendments were redundancies in nature. So that was my recollection of it. So if one were to vote no to this motion, we just step back to the code of ethics as it has been written in the past, which isn't, in my view, much different from what's being suggested. So
okay,
I just thought
through the chair. Through the chair, I'd like to just support what Trustee Roche was saying in the sense that the debate on the policy is definitely in order in terms of the work of the board. I would caution the board to just echoing whatever legal advice you received.
Thank you. Okay. With that, with the understanding, we'll be looking at this as the first item in our next policy meeting. I'm going to ask for the vote.
Okay, calling the vote.
And a reminder, this is in support of it, of the, as presented here at this meeting.
And the minutes do reflect, or will reflect, that this policy will be referred to the policy committee for further consideration with our legal consultant.
I don't have a voting button.
Okay, I can vote for you, Trustee Kand Rajwan. How would you like to vote?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I'm happy to support that the motion passed, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, board governance and operations. Again, the policy committee made some changes to that, and we're looking for approval of those changes.
The recommended changes are outlined under 2.2, which is the order of the agenda, which I believe is mostly housekeeping. 1.2, which clarifies process on question period. And I believe those are the extent of the recommendations at this stage.
Would move to accept with move the approved revisions effective immediately.
Thank you. A seconder?
I will second that.
Trustee Rye, thank you. And
was it Trustee Rye or Trustee Keller?
Trustee Rye. It was Trustee Rye. Any questions, comments?
May I open?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. I just want to, as you know, we've had some circumstances arising in the past where we've had a difficult time with questions being related to the specifics of the agenda, the business of the agenda. And in review of other board policies around the province, we are one of the holdouts who has not been accepting simply questions in writing. And I would like to see us move in that direction. I think that puts us in alignment with other boards and other districts who have done this very thing. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Trustee White.
There we go. Yeah, before I make my comments, I just want to, for the public's edification, to clarify that the fact that this is coming to the public meeting doesn't necessarily imply that the policy committee, which is 3 of the board members, agrees with it. It just means the policy committee thinks that it should come toward the board, and it's ultimately our job to decide what happens, not there's not really a recommendation there. It's coming to the board now. So this is our time to discuss it, and which is why when we had policy committee, I didn't say anything. I saving my comments for tonight because I think that's the time when we should be talking about it in the public. So my concern with this in particular is that it seems to put a little bit more control in our court in terms of what people say and don't say, and I just think that I don't think we need to, like, sometimes people come up and they say things that make us uncomfortable, and sometimes people don't stay on task, and sometimes people make comments, but in the scheme of the 3 years I've been on the school board, that's not really a problem. There's been, I don't know, maybe a half a dozen people in 6 years that have come up to the mic and done anything else other than maybe just ask a simple question. So I don't see that this policy is solving a real problem. I think that it's easy for us to be uncomfortable. It's easy for us to, when people come up to the mic and maybe, their tone isn't what we would like it to be. But I guess that's where I think this is not in line with where I would like to see us going. Like, I wish we had more question period time. I wish we had open mics. Like, I wish there was real dialogue with the public. And that's not where this board has landed at this point in terms of its public meetings. I wish there wasn't a policy that said it had to be on the agenda. I just wish, people at their own leisure could come to a meeting and ask the questions that are important to them. So I feel like in terms of engagement in the public meeting, this is a step in the opposite direction, and I'm not sure what problem this solves. So I am, very concerned about the direction that we are going with this policy change, because I think the way we're doing things are fine, and I would want to open it up, not even close it up more. So that's my concern. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. All right. Trustee Cantarajwan.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. We had this conversation last week too, and I echo with Trustee Wilson about, I like the idea of aligning with what other districts are doing. Yes, in some ways this conversation came up because of the last couple of meetings, but at the same time, I like the idea of aligning what are other districts doing, and having it in writing just makes more sense to me. So I'd like to follow that direction.
Thank you. Trustee Roach.
Yeah, I have a fair bit of concern with this one as well. It's already very intimidating for people coming to our meetings to ask a question. I've heard that from numerous people. So I think if we want to make it easier to engage with the public, then we wouldn't require it to be in writing. I also think because there are so many different languages spoken in our district, putting it in writing makes it that much harder and more intimidating for folks as well. So I favor the idea of being more open and just managing the decorum. If people are asking questions verbally in a way that isn't polite or respectful, then we can deal with that in other ways. But I'd like to keep it open. Thanks.
Trustee Kaler. Oh, we're not hearing you.
You're muted.
Sorry, I'm here. Thank you, Chair Peterson, and through the chair, if I may, Superintendent, do you have a rough number, if you know, and maybe you don't, how many districts in British Columbia use a written format for question period? If you know, and you may not, but just curious.
I don't have exact numbers, Trustee Kaler. Different school districts use different ways, and so there are districts that have a similar process to us. There are districts that accept only written questions and receive those. There are districts that require participants to write questions and then allow them to read just those questions, and so you get a variety formats, just depending on the policy of a particular district, because it is not it's not a requirement to have question period.
If I just may add to that for a sec, there's also school districts that do not provide a question period. Again, it's not a requirement, and it's the choice of the board.
And maybe we're not at that stage yet, but if this does go forward, will there be an online form? Will there be a physical form? How do we know what that will look like? Who will this be submitted to? Will it be to the Secretary Treasurer or the chair themselves? If we know at this stage.
Thank you. Through the chair, if I could answer that. The process as it's envisioned right now is that we would receive written. We currently already receive online during meetings, and so I would imagine that would continue. The intent of the change, as recommended by the policy committee, would be that the Secretary Treasurer would receive the written questions. I would read them out to the board for the benefit of the board chair, and it would be the board chair's determination if they were in order and whatever next steps would come from that.
Thank you
for that.
Trustee Rai.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. I would concur with Trustee Wilson and Trustee Kandaradwan that as we've seen in the last few meetings, there has been rude comments made towards the chair, rude comments made towards the staff, and it's not a good thing. So I know some of the trustees say that that's part of the game, and it should be okay to make, because some people do get offline. And the thing is, if they are intimidated of asking a question, writing out a question is much more easier than speaking it out, because you just write it out, give it to the staff, and it'll be read there. You don't have to speak, you don't have to do anything. So I would encourage us to approve this.
All right. Trustee Roach, I'm going to let you be the final comment.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just curious, just to understand the envisioned process a little bit better. So if someone comes to our meeting because they're interested, say, in a topic on the agenda, and then they have a clarification question that they have during the course of the meeting, how do you envision them writing down their question and then submitting it?
Maybe I might answer that. I think in discussion with the policy committee that we would have some forms available. We would give some time at the end of the meeting, if required, for writing down questions, and they would be handed to the Secretary Treasurer, who would read them out, and the chair would decide whether they're appropriate for comment or answers, and we'd move on from there.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe I'll just add my comment, and then I will support this amendment or this policy as presented. I would like to think that if in fact it will encourage more people to ask questions about our agenda. It's much easier to write something down than to stand up and say it, and I think it might eliminate some of the angst and so on, and decorum issues that have presented a problem for some of us. I think it'll take that away, and these good folks can still ask their questions. All right, I know.
Sorry, Chair, just we do have a hand up.
Okay, were you the mover?
I was the mover.
Okay, then you get the last. Yes, thank you.
The last word. Thank you. I just want to express appreciation to everyone for their comments. I understand and recognize some of the challenges that have been raised by some folks, but also recognize and actually agree with Chair Peterson that it may actually open up more opportunity for people to present questions. I also just want to acknowledge that in the way that our policy was written, we don't even take questions online at all. and actually we've been asking for that, but that's outside of policy. So it's kind of interesting, but, I just want to thank everyone. I'm done.
Okay,
Thanks.
so I'm going to ask for the vote then. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The vote is open for trustees.
Thank you very much. How are we doing? Has everybody got buttons?
My buttons are not working.
Okay, Trustee Kanda Rajwan, if you'd like to let me know what you want to vote.
I'm in favor, please.
I'm recording Trustee Kanda Rajwan as a yes, and Chair, I'm happy to say that motion passed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, we're committee reports. We'll start with audit, and given that I'm the chair and nothing to report.
Oh, excuse me, Chair. I apologize. We do have another revised policy
we
to
do
consider, which is board committees.
Yes, I missed that. All right, one more policy to hopefully approve the changes, and I'll let you speak to that.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair, I'd like to update the board on recommendations by the policy committee. So as you can review in the second attachment in your electronic school board online tool, what we are recommending is to add a policy committee, which is one that I would recommend as Secretary Treasurer, but was supported as well by the policy committee, which was an ad hoc committee at this stage. Continues to be an ad hoc committee with your, unless you support this change. And the policy committee would be a standing committee. And as you're reviewing now, that would be a committee that would meet at least twice per year, and or as needed based on referrals by the board. For example, the previous conversation on another policy that you referred to the policy committee, this would be the work of the policy committee when they meet. The second recommendation is to add the education committee as a standing committee, which has been a long-standing committee of the school district. And as we were reviewing this particular policy, felt it fit very well with the other standing committees and would make the recommendation as you can see in your information. So very, very happy to welcome any questions, but this is supported by the policy committee for the board's consideration.
All right, and looking for a mover for this.
Move to approve with the question.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Rye. Let's get a seconder first. Thank you. Seconder. Thank you, Trustee Wilson. Okay, Trustee Rye.
Thank you for the intensive work done on this. I would just say I'm really for that policy committee and education committee are now part of standing committees. It does say here 3 trustees in each of those committees membership, but I would encourage that our standing practice is that every trustee can come to any meeting they want. So there's 3 members who will be suggesting to move it up to board level or not, but all of us are encouraged to come there and give their views.
Thank you for that, Trustee Rye. Trustee Wilson.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add with a note of appreciation to Trustee White. He actually raised it to our attention that for some reason, education, which has been a standing committee forever, was not listed in standing committees. So with appreciation, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And thank you, Trustee White, for bringing this forward.
All right, you're welcome.
All right. So we now then are at committee reports, and as chair of the audit committee.
Sorry, Chair, if you don't mind, if we have a vote on that motion, I'm going to click the button right now.
My goodness sakes.
Just before we vote, I just had to.
No, I'm not trying to watch a baseball game after this. I have lots of papers around me, and with apologies.
Okay. I have Trustee Roush has yet to vote, and Trustee Kanda Rajwan, if you'd like to let me know how you'd like to vote.
I just had a question. May I?
Yes, most certainly.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know. I thought that was a great comment that Trustee Rye commented on, suggesting that any of the board members could attend all these. Is that official then, or does that need to be in policy? I haven't seen that in the policy.
That's been standing practice for any of our committees since I've been a board member. So yes, all trustees can attend.
We'll just leave that as informal then. Okay, great. I just
Thank you
thought
for
I'd
that,
ask
Bill.
question. Thank you.
Okay, and we'll have you vote if you would, please.
Thank you. Chair, I'd like to confirm that was unanimous and has passed.
And then thank you, Secretary Treasurer Neil, for keeping me in the right direction and for your work in presenting these reports. I appreciate it very much. Okay, nothing from the Audit Committee. How about Education Committee?
Excuse me, sorry, Chair, I do apologize again, but I believe under, oh, no, you're in order. I apologize. I'm going to take a step back. Your committee
Okay.
reports is correct.
All right. Oh, phew. Education Committee, anything to report?
I was the chair of Education Committee. No, nothing to report. We did have one, but nothing to report.
And Finance and Facilities?
We have not met to date, and I believe our next meeting is planned for in December.
Okay. Reports on external organizations. Anybody have anything? Trustee White. Trustee
Wilson?
Wilson.
Thank you. Just around Provincial Council, BCSCA, there was a Provincial Council meeting. Our final dollar amount payable to BCSCA as a member has been approved. There's a slight increase. I can't remember the percent, but it's not significant. And also the Fraser Valley Branch Executive met last night because we didn't have a meeting set when there was agenda setting. And we are not holding a branch meeting until Academy, so November 28th, as well as we will be hosting the next meeting, an annual general meeting in January details to be worked out with the superintendent, and we'll talk about that more as we proceed into the new year. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Not seeing any. I'm going to add one thing is that I have the privilege of being the board representative on the Indigenous Educational Advisory Committee. And at our last meeting, two really interesting topics. One was the fact that there are a number of students who are encouraged to take our Halkomelem courses, Introduction to Halkomelem 11 and 12. And it's open to all secondary students, whether you're in Abbotsford or anywhere, and it's an online course for credit. Secondly, and this is really exciting, any adult in the Abbotsford School District in Mathway First Nations or Samath First Nation can take this course as well at no cost. And the good news is you don't have to write the final exam unless you choose to. So if you're interested in that, I can provide information to you. Secondly, on September 29th, during the Pro D Day, all schools were involved in a blanket activity. And what was especially great about this is these activities were led by the administration of the schools with tremendous resource support from our Indigenous Education Department. And, administrators really had to step out of their comfort zone in many cases to present this, because for many and most, it's an emotional activity. And my understanding is that they went off very well in all the schools, and our administrators and our Indigenous Educational Council should be very proud of the work that happened on that day. And as one member, and I'll wrap it up by saying, as one member of the committee said, on that day, we walked our commitment. So a really great story from our Indigenous Education Department. Okay, Community Matters Award under new business. Chair of this committee, Kanda Rajwan, do you want to comment?
Yes, thank you, Chair Peterson. It was a great conversation that we had with Trustee Kaler and with Christy from Communications. And I'm looking forward to announcing the final winner, but I mean, recipient. I don't know if you can see that yet. So
And the program will be launched in the next short while, if I remember correctly. It'll be an online, and I'm not sure if it's in the paper, but there'll be lots of announcements
Yes.
regarding this. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
there'll be more announcements, I believe, in the new year.
Okay. Trustee announcements. We have a whole list of things that trustees attended. From that list, anybody want to comment or add to? Trustee Kaler.
Find myself to the mic. Thank you, Chair. I had the honor of attending the Crystal Gala this year with my other fellow trustees, and I want to say a big congratulations to Jerry and her team for creating such an amazing evening celebrating 25 years of giving back to our community. And a big shout out to my friends on the team, Julie Charles, Aman Gill, Susan Bubra, and everybody else who made it possible. A lot of work goes into an event like that. And the best part is they're all volunteers. So a big congratulations to them. And I also attended, amongst again colleagues, the district planning session. And I want to say how proud I am of the students who participated in those conversations and stood up and spoke up. Hina Sander and her peers did an amazing job sharing the students' perspective, and it was just very inspiring. So good job.
All right. That's great. Thank you. Anybody else? I'm not seeing any hands.
Well, I can't find my hand.
There you
So
go.
I just
Trustee
wanted
Wright.
to. It's like, yeah. I just wanted to say that. Just let me get into it. I think Trustee Rout mentioned it before, that the district planning team meeting was held with students, and wow, those students can talk and can give us information. So I'm glad that Superintendent Ding, I think we are having 4 of them this year. And so I'm glad that we are having 4, because I got so much information from the students, because they are right there. So thank you for holding them.
All right. Good comment. Good comment. All right. Would we happen to have any online questions from our audience? Secretary Treasurer Neal.
We don't have any.
No questions.
I can see we're a lot of head shaking from our communications professionals.
All
So
right.
no questions this time.
And we
Chair.
most certainly thank them for our work, for their work in making this meeting happen. Well, that ends our meeting. But before we do that, I want to say a thank you to our live stream audience for their patience as we struggled through some technology issues, struggled through the ineptness of the chair with technology, and in following the agenda. It will get better, and because we haven't done this for a while. But I want to thank my colleagues for a very productive and good meeting. And if we could just hang tight for just a bit, I need 30 seconds of your time, please. And I'm assuming we are now offline.